This is a very beneficial technique to help maintain your equine athlete and get the best out of him or her. We're going to start with level 1. And level 1 starts with the half moon stroke, which is over the top of the shoulder blade. You'll see I work with 2 SUMCHIs, but when you start, just start with 1 and probably the SUMCHI 6 heart. It's got a little bit bigger head at the end of the prong. So we're going to start with the first stroke, and that's half moon. Half moon is basically just getting yourself adjusted to the horse, and you're working over the top of the shoulder blade and back and forth movements. With the mutual grooming that happens between horses, you'll find that they often start grooming each other here at the top of the shoulder. This is an important part because of where our saddles go and where the blankets go, and it has a lot to do with improving the stride through the shoulder. This is the half moon. Just moving, you can see it's from my elbow, a swing. From the half moon, we go into the fan. The fan is more a wrist action, and it's covering all the muscles behind the shoulder blade, below the wither. There's important parts of the fascia here, and you'll find quite often the muscle contours can be stressed here, again from our saddles, again from our blankets. And it's an important part in the fascia chain. As you can see, she's quite enjoying that. Slow. So what I have found is quite often it's important just to take a breath and slow down and let the magnetic tool, let the SUMCHI 6 do its thing as it passes over each cell. So you can see it's my wrist action. This is the stroke to the fan. And I'm holding it lightly. You don't need to hold it tight. Just hold it lightly, let it set in your hand. And you're gonna ask me how much pressure. The pressure goes from, how much pressure is that when that horse's whisker is touching you? How much pressure is that when his muzzle is touching you? So it's very much on the same pressure that he communicates, the horse communicates with the other horse. So then how much pressure is the teeth? But at this point, when you start with just the weight of the SUMCHI, and that's your pressure, and lightly swinging it across. This is a 19-year-old polo pony. She's beautiful, hey? And she's really enjoying this. Ooh, she says that feels good. From the fan, we go into the third stroke, which is called the butterfly. The butterfly starts from the end of the fan, and we drop down through the thoracic and back up. Down through the thoracic and back up. Well, intercostal, sorry. We drop mid-thoracic and back up, and then we move towards the elbow. So this is the butterfly, and this is the third stroke in level 1. So we've moved towards the elbow, and then we're going to backtrack and move all the way to the last rib. Yes, that little kick could be a fly, or she could be just telling me that I've come across something sensitive, so I'll pay attention to that spot. So notice I'm going down the ribs, a little bit more pressure, up the ribs. At the last rib, we come back up to the start, the wither. Then we drop back down mid-thoracic, and again, start the stroke again. You can do this about 3 times. What is important about the butterfly stroke? You have intercostal nerves that come down in between each one of these nerves. You have each one of these ribs. You have the vagus nerve that comes across. So by stimulating all these nerves, you're making the horse more aware and sensitive to all your aids. My holding hand is usually placed at the front of her shoulder. You're going to improve the fascia plane over her diaphragm to allow her to take bigger, more extended breaths. Okay, so that is our butterfly. From our butterfly, we're going to now go into Froggy. So you can see we're going to activate the shoulder. We've activated the rib cage and the barrel. Now we're going to go and start activating the hind leg before we even go into the back. Froggy. You guys are going to love this. It's all about encouraging and activating the hind leg. So with Froggy, we move down to the gaskin. And we understand this might be hard to see with our pole here, but 5 strokes up and down the gaskin, and then 1 stroke across the front, and then slide back to your hawk and start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the front, slide back to the hawk, and then you can go up the hamstrings. Gastrocnemius has a lot to do with the action of your hawk. Then you draw the rest of the stroke up to the top of the tail. Up to the top of the tail. Nice, long, flowing strokes up our hamstrings. The hamstrings have a lot to do with the function of the stifle. And the more balanced you keep your hamstrings, the better functioning this hind limb is going to be. When we do, in our next video, I'll show you how you can go more into the inside of the hind leg, into your gracilis. And again, that has a lot to do with bringing the hind leg towards the midline, which is, again, important in your stopping and your turning. So it's lighter pressure going down, a little bit more pressure coming up. As you lift the hair, you're stimulating the root of the hair follicle and therefore the fascia. So that is our Froggy stroke. In level 1, from our Froggy stroke, we then go back up to the wither and we start the teardrop. The teardrop goes down along the top line, circle around the glute, come back up to the wither. Down the top line, circle around the glute, back up to the wither. Just the weight of my SUMCHI 6 doing the stroke. Yeah, she's got a nice chew going on now. Then you can switch directions in the teardrop. Switch directions and come back up. Now I'm lifting the hair more along the top line and going down with the hair around the glute and back up. So that is our teardrop. From the teardrop, we're then going to go into the 7. So last night I was thinking I should probably call this the double 7. So from there we draw the 7 twice on the horse's neck. So we go down the shoulder, back up, and then to the pole is 1 7. And then she like that, down the shoulder, to the front of the shoulder, point to the shoulder, and then back up underneath, up the brachii, to the throat latch region. So those are the 2 7s, let's call it the double 7 on the neck. 1 down, and then up the middle of the neck to the pole. And then we're stimulating a lot of the surroundus that's going to come in here. So that's our 1 7. And then our double 7. My hand should be on the horse, but I'm just showing you so you can see clearly. It's down in front of the shoulder. So you hit that burst in the brachii, and then you come up underneath the neck and into the throat latch region, which then leads us in level 3. You'll see what was called the ambassador is a beautiful stroke. So that's number 7.